there, Code Monkeys. You know, we all love YouTube here, but YouTube is not the only website out there in this big old series of tubes, is it? I have a whole bunch of websites that I frequent during my week, and I'm sure most of you do as well. For me, one of my favorites is The Escapist. It's a website devoted to gaming, gaming news, and most importantly to me, gaming reviews. One of my favorite game reviewers of all time, the esteemed Mr. Yahtzee Croshaw of Zero Punctuation, posts his reviews on this website, and there are all sorts of really fun pieces of video content to be found on The Escapist. But there are some not so good ones as well. Today, I'd like to talk about one that I simply don't get. The series is called I Hit It With My Axe. For those of you who are not familiar with the series, which I'm guessing is most if not all of you, I'll fill you in. The concept is basically this. A group of adult film stars, a stripper, and a hairdresser all get together and play Dungeons and Dragons. And that's it. That's the whole concept. Does that sound interesting to you at all? Okay, first of all, let's be honest here. Nobody who watches pornography watches it because they're interested in the actors as people. Nobody. People watch pornography to help them get their jollies off. And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Pornography is a completely legitimate profession. It requires stamina, it requires talent, and it requires work. Adult film actors and actresses are just like any other working people. They get up in the morning, they go to their job, they take direction, they do what they're hired to do, and they get paid for it. Just because their job happens to be related to sex does not mean that they are any less complex, emotional, or deserving of respect than any other person. The fact that these people are porn stars playing D&D should not be any more important than the fact that I'm an artist who plays D&D, or that my friend Jimmy is a computer scientist who plays D&D. So I ask you, does watching a whole bunch of people you don't know play D&D sound like fun to you? Because it doesn't sound like fun to me. But you know what? Maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe these are really entertaining people, or maybe they're really interesting. Maybe they've got really unique worldviews that make them especially entertaining to watch. Or maybe this is a really unique and fascinating D&D game. Maybe this Dungeon Master has created a totally original and compelling setting with a deep and rich storyline. So I decided to find out. I went to The Escapist and I watched the first 15 episodes of this show. And you know what? Not all that fun. First of all, a lot of them have never played D&D before. And if any of you have ever seen somebody who's new to the game try to argue with a seasoned dungeon master, you know that it's kind of painful to watch. Which brings me to my next point. Most of these girls have no respect for their dungeon master. They constantly argue with him over every tiny slight detail, and they get mad at him when he makes them roll for standard things. Example, the hairdresser is playing a rogue, and every time the DM tells her to roll a move silently check, she argues with him by saying, "But I'm really good at sneaking." A good number of these people have no patience and no respect for how the game is played. I mean, they seem like nice enough people, and I can definitely tell that they're enjoying their time together, and that's great for them, but why am I supposed to care? Because they're porn stars? So what? Don't get me wrong, there are some jobs out there that do make you an inherently interesting person, like astronaut or whatever you call Andrew Zimmern's job. But adult film star? I'm sorry, but that's just not an inherently interesting profession. Being an adult film star doesn't make you some god of sexual thrills, it just makes you an adult film star. In the same way that being an artist doesn't make me Leonardo da Vinci, it just makes me an artist. I guess it just bothers me that people treat adult film stars like they're hugely different from everyone else, and they're not. Adult film stars have more than just nice tits. They have thoughts, they have personalities, they have hopes and dreams and aspirations. They're normal. And that is exactly why watching them play D&D is boring. See you later.